What's going on, everybody? And well, the RAD Pack is at it again, man. For those who don't know, the RAD Pack podcast has done a couple community challenges, the RAD 9 movies that made us, the RAD 9 movies that scared us, and today we're going to be doing our RAD 9 movie crushes growing up. Now, there's a couple stipulations. Again, everyone's doing their video a little bit differently, but this is my stipulations that I'm doing for my video. So just to get this little disclaimer out there, it's the RAD 9 movie crushes growing up. So, like, anybody who knows me or follows the channel knows that my current crushes, Samara Weaving, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Emma Stone, just to name a few, they will not be on this list. As they are not, from growing up. These are just more and more modern ones, so they won't be on here. Also, it's the RAD 9 movie crushes, not the RAD 9 TV crushes. That'd be a whole different list. So I'm not including any TV characters, although there are a couple ones. There is like one or two that transferred over from TV into movies, and I'm gonna use like one or two of them, but that's it. And finally, these are in no particular order. This isn't from best to worst or worst to best or anything like that. Although I will say I will save the best one for last. But other than that, they're going to be in no particular order. So let's go ahead and find out who were my RAD 9 movie crushes growing up. And the first one I'm going to bring up is Ashley Lawrence, aka Kirsty Cotton from Hellraiser. Now, I don't know what it is about this character. She was very smart, right? She was very much like in charge of things, like in charge of her own life. She moved out of her dad's place. She got away from the evil, wicked stepmother Julia, right? Until she found out she was up to some dirty shit.
Naughty, naughty.
And I just found her to be a really likable character. And my crush started on her because of all that. And Ashley Lawrence is easy on the eyes too. I mean, she is gorgeous. And even today, she's aging like a fine wine. The next one up is Ali Sheedy, and you guys might know her a little bit better as Allison from The Breakfast Club. I mean, I like a little bit of mystery, It's kind of like, oh, she's a little strange, she's a little quiet. I wonder what her story is. And again, she's really beautiful, and I'm saying she's beautiful before the big makeover, spoiler alert. I don't know, but I remember when I was like a young teenager watching The Breakfast Club, and I was already relating to a lot in the movie, but that was one character that I really grabbed onto and was attracted to. And the next one up is one of those actresses that I was talking about earlier, who was both in TV and film, and my crush of her did start on TV, and that is Eliza Dushku as the character Faith in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV series. I mean, that character was quite the badass. She was hot. I liked her style. I liked her personality, her sarcasm, her sense of humor, her I don't give a fuck attitude. Very rebellious, and I was kind of always attracted to that growing up. Kind of like the bad girl, right? All the ladies kind of had things for bad boys. I was, I had the thing for the bad girls going on back then. And then, of course, she moved on to films like Bring It On, which she also looked very good. She's always looking good. And then she did like Wrong Turn as well, and yeah. Yeah, Eliza Dushku was a really big one in my formative years, for sure. The next one up is Michelle Pfeiffer. And Michelle Pfeiffer is an actress who's also aging like a fine wine. She still looks great today. And I'm not really talking about Scarface Michelle Pfeiffer, although she's great. I'm sort of talking about Batman Returns as Catwoman, which, my God, she was perfect in that role, no pun intended, and she's still to this day my favorite rendition of Catwoman. But to me, what started my crush on Michelle Pfeiffer was her character Stephanie in Grease 2. I mean, that movie, I'm a big defender of Grease 2. I just did a whole video on why Grease 2 is superior than the original video. Go check that out. That is also on the channel. Shameless plug there. But no, I really love Stephanie as a character. Again, I liked her being a rebel. There's this whole code, the T-Birds and the Pink Ladies, those are the ones that get together. But my girl Stephanie was like, I don't think so, man, I'm out. She ain't no one's trophy.
Ooh, she ain't no one's trophy.
And when she's singing that Cool Rider song and she's dancing around and she's like popping her collar and putting the leather jacket on, man, yeah, that was peak Michelle Pfeiffer for me. The next one up is still a modern one, and I said I wasn't going to include any of my modern day crushes, but this is a modern crush that I've had since I was a teenager, going all the way back into the 80s, like 86, 87, somewhere around that era, and that is Shawnee Smith, particularly Shawnee Smith in The Blob. Now, obviously, today, Shawnee Smith is most known for Saw. Back in the 90s, she did that television show Becker. She was great on that. I had a crush on her in that. But to go back even further, she did a movie called Summer School, which, again, she was like this awkward girl in that movie. It's a really funny movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. But something about Shawnee Smith in that movie, and then, yes, the Saw connection, of course, later, that really, like, all that kind of mixed together formed my crush into Shawnee Smith, and it's pretty much lifelong at this point. From again, as an early teen all the way up until now, that crush has remained. Yeah, Shawnee Smith. And on today's episode of Where Are They Now, my next rad crush growing up is Kristy Swanson from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, not the TV show. And of course, she did things like Big Daddy, Mannequin 2, Dude, Where's My Car? Kristy Swanson, man, she's a smoke show. And again, I don't know where she is these days. I haven't really seen her around. I haven't really, heard that she was doing any new projects or anything like that. So I don't know where she is. But yeah, I would love to know because she was a big crush of mine. So my next crush is unfortunately no longer with us, but she was one of my biggest crushes growing up, especially in my late teens and my early 20s. Like, that was really where my crush for her kind of started, and that is the late, great Brittany Murphy, and I miss her dearly. She was adorable. She was really funny. She had a good sense of humor. I liked her personality. There's a video of her if you guys have not seen it, and maybe I'll put like some reference footage over this of her in Blockbuster, just kind of browsing through like we all used to back in the day, and it warms my heart to see her just enjoying life like that. And I always thought she was really funny in movies like Just Married. 8 Mile, of course, was fantastic. She was great in that movie. Girl Interrupted. She was in Clueless is great, but she was too young in that movie. So we're not going to talk about that. It's a great movie, but she was too young. Yeah, Brittany Murphy, I think, could have had a really long, good career if she was still here, because she had so much talent, and she was somebody that when you saw her on screen, like, you just felt happy. If that may sound corny to say, but like, she always brought a smile to your face, if that makes sense. So the late great Brittany Murphy. This one may shock some of you, or maybe it won't shock some of you, because you're like, yeah, dude, I know. I mean, this chick fucking rocks, right? So this next one, obviously, this is a actress who has been around for a very long time. She's still around today. She's also aging very, very well. I think she still looks good. And she's one of the most kick-ass female action stars that I know. And I'm not talking about Jennifer Lawrence, although I love her. And we're not talking about Alien. You know, she's great in Alien. She's a badass in Alien. She's beautiful in Ghostbusters. I love her in Ghostbusters. But my crush for Sigourney Weaver goes to this little cult classic called Galaxy Quest, which in my opinion is the best Star Trek movie ever made. Galaxy Quest was so good, but Sigourney Weaver, damn. Yeah, Sigourney Weaver in that movie, just like, and again, she's always looked good, but that was the first time I just saw Galaxy Quest at like the right time in my life, to where I was like, Sigourney Weaver's pretty hot. So, and again, like I said, she still looks good today, even when she's blue. So hell yeah, Sigourney Weaver. Badass. And I remember what I said at the top of this video, that even though this is not in a best to worst kind of order here, I did want to save my personal best for last, because this one was probably the biggest crush I've had in my childhood, in my like teenage years, preteen, early 20s maybe. And again, I still have a crush on her now, but over time that crush has kind of faded, just because again, I don't see this actress in much these days. I know she's busy, I know she's doing other things, but I don't see her like on screen as much anymore. And that is Leah Thompson. Leah Thompson, and again, she's always beautiful. I could pull from Back to the Future some kind of wonderful, but what got me hell, I could even go Dennis the Menace. But oh no, my friends, the movie that got me the crush on Leah Thompson is none other than Howard the Duck. Not only was, again, I liked her personality. I thought she was funny. She had a good sense of humor. She rocked on stage, you know, even though she was kind of playing like the dumps and all the stuff like that. You know, she was playing these shitty venues, and she was working for some very shitty people in that movie. But I thought she fucking rocked, and she was such a good character. And yes, let's talk about the duck in the room here. She wore some very sexy outfits, and that hairstyle, all the hairstyle she had in there, so 80s, such a product of its time. I love it. I think Leah Thompson is still absolutely beautiful to this day. And again, like I said, she had so many great roles in my childhood. But Howard the Duck was the one that always stood out to me the most. So there you go, guys. That was my RAD 9 movie crushes growing up. Who are yours? Let me know in the comments, or make your own video. Either way, tag the Rad Pack. Go subscribe to the Rad Pack podcast. This has been fun, but now it's time for me to hear from you guys. So let me know your guys' down in the comment section below. If you guys are new to the channel, this is your first video you're watching, go subscribe. If you guys like all things movies, particularly stuff of the 80s, 90s, early 2000s era. So yeah, definitely hit that subscribe button if that's something you're into. Make sure you hit that like button. It's free, it's quick, it takes 2 seconds. It helps me, it helps push things along in the algorithm. Hit that notification bell, that helps you. Hit that notification bell so you guys can always know what's going on here on the Movie Misfits. And that's all I can say for today, guys. So until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.